Please join us in our opening hymn, From This Bright Hour. From this bright hour and days to come, as we have gathered into one, open the gates and the light will shine all around. Let there be light. Wounds of the world begin to heal as peace with justice is made real. Open the gates and the light will shine all around. Let there be light. All are welcome, all invited, with open hearts and open minds. In our living, in our learning, may we always be searching for truth and light. Now is the hour, join in the song, here in this place where we belong. Open the gates and the light will shine all around. Let there be light.
Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Portland, where our mission is to nurture the individual spirit and to build the beloved community. We're so glad that you are joining us this morning for our family worship service. Thank you for joining us. Today, we are sharing a few worship elements from the annual youth service, which will be streamed in its entirety at 10:15 a.m. on the church's website. Every Sunday, we light a chalice, and today our high school youth group, YRUU, or Young Religious Unitarian Universalists, will light our chalice. The chalice we light was made by a high school student who gave it to YRUU when he graduated. If you have a chalice or candle at home, I invite you to light it now.
We are Unitarian Universalists.
We light this chalice
In faith
in hope
and in love.
The words of Amanda Gorman. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. Come now and let us worship.
Autism. What does that word mean? It can mean many different things. To me, it was the word that changed my life at age 15. At that time, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, or high-functioning autism. I remember going into complete shock. I had known I was a little different, but autism was something I had never even thought of. At first, I thought nobody would ever want to be friends with me because I was disabled. But eventually, I started to accept and embrace my autism, and one of the things that helped me do that was dance. I started dance at age 12, 3 years before I was diagnosed. At first, I just did it for fun, but I realized after about a year, this is something I couldn't live without. When I dance, I have this feeling I can't convey. The best way I can describe it is the feeling of pure, unbridled joy and passion. When people ask me why I dance, I say, because it's my passion and it makes me happy. I always tell my friends and family, I really try to be a positive person because the world has enough negative people in it, and I don't need to add to that. So as I start this new chapter of my life after YRUU, I have this piece of wisdom for you. Just do what makes you happy, because when you do, the world becomes a better place. My solo, which you'll see in a minute, is to Once Upon a December. I chose this song because it reminds me of my childhood and happier memories. Now, please enjoy my solo to Once Upon a December, choreography by the amazing Brenna Calmer and filmed by my fantastic father at Encore Performing Arts Center.
Dancing bears, painted wings, things I almost remember, and a song someone sings once upon a December. Someone holds me safe and warm, horses prance through a silver storm, figures dancing gracefully across my memory. Someone holds me safe and warm, horses prance through a silver storm, figures dancing gracefully across my memory. Far away, long ago, glowing dim as an ember, things my heart used to know, things it yearns to remember, and a song someone sings once upon a
There are many things that anyone who lives in the Pacific Northwest might take for granted, like living close enough to an ocean that we can drive to it in just a few hours. As Unitarian Universalists, one of the things we might take for granted is belonging to a faith that is a living tradition. This can be challenging because our faith doesn't give us multiple choice tests or true-false quizzes. It doesn't even give us an answer sheet, but it does encourage our questions. Our faith calls us to live lives that are aligned with our principles, who we are and whom we want to become. And all of us, people of all ages, change throughout our lives. We try, we make mistakes, we adapt, we try again. This is also true of Unitarian Universalism. That's what makes it our living tradition. Collectively, we try. We make mistakes, we adapt, we try again. The 7 principles are a good example of this. When the principles were originally adopted in 1961, there were only 6 of them. And they included phrases like the dignity of man and love to man and men of goodwill. Then a movement within Unitarian Universalist congregations grew, led by women who called upon our faith to change the principles, to adapt, to try again, with words that were more inclusive. And those conversations led to workshops and disagreements and agreements and more conversations, and eventually, resolutions were voted on and past. And to those efforts that began over 60 years ago, efforts that would grow to include adding a seventh principle to honor this planet, this interdependent web that we all call home, I look back with gratitude. Because I know that if our current principles still had phrases like men of goodwill, then Unitarian Universalism would not be a living tradition. The faith would not have listened. It would not have adapted. It would not have tried again with revised words that were more inclusive. And by adding a seventh principle that honored the importance of protecting and healing all that we can on the planet we call home. It's now 2021, and soon this faith community will vote on whether to adopt the eighth principle of Unitarian Universalism. The eighth principle would affirm and promote building the beloved community that is free from racism and oppression, and uphold that we do this with actions that are accountable, actions that we can hold ourselves and one another to. And here's my fear, that in a predominantly white congregation, if we were to adopt the eighth principle, people wouldn't actually do the work. I can't help but ask, would we be making concrete change? Or would we just be giving ourselves a pat on the back and making ourselves feel better by saying we were among the first few dozen UU congregations to adopt the eighth principle? And these are questions I can't help but ask, because I live in a city where Black families have been displaced from neighborhoods that are now full of Black Lives Matter signs. And as a member of my school's mock trial team, I listened to white judges tell me and my mostly white peers that we're giving them hope for the future of this country because of what we're learning about the law and the courts. Yet the same judge could end up perpetuating the racism of our legal system by sending a Black or brown peer of mine to prison the very next day. So if all we want is to pat ourselves on the back for passing the eighth principle, then I hope it doesn't pass. We don't need pats on the back. We don't need thoughts and prayers as substitutes for actions that are accountable, actions that we can hold ourselves and one another to. But if we're ready, and I believe we are, to adopt the eighth principle, based on what we want this faith community to be 50 years from now, based on how we want high schoolers to look back on these efforts with gratitude, if we're ready to adopt the eighth principle as an affirmation of our living tradition that calls us to uphold that simply acknowledging oppression is not sufficient, even if we don't know exactly how we're going to get there, yet collectively we're committed to affirming and promoting that our actions and accountability are crucial to getting there, then I hope we vote to adopt it. With the understanding that it's not the adoption of the principle that's the point, it's the commitment to act upon it. Thank you.
About when it's going wrong, but we're still young. stubborn, I know. But oh, sweet creature, wherever I go, you bring me home. Sweet creature, when I run out of road, you bring me home. One home. It's hard when we argue. We're both stubborn, I know. But oh, sweet creature, wherever I go, you bring me home. Sweet creature, when I run out of road, you bring me home. You bring me home. To be humble, to be kind, it is the giving of peace in your mind. To a stranger, to a friend, to give in such a way that has no end. We are loved, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other and nothing more. To be bold, to be brave, it is thinking that the heart can still be saved, and the darkness can come quick. Dangers in the anger and hanging on to it. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other and nothing more. Tell me what it is that you see. A world that's full of endless possibilities. And heroes don't look like they used to. They look like you do. We are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other and nothing
The words of Amy Tan. I often sense a spirit or force or meaning beyond myself. I leave it open as to what the spirit is, but I'm not basing what I do in this life on expected reward or punishment in the hereafter or thereafter. It's enough that I feel blessed. By whom or what, I do not know, but I receive it with gratitude. This is the day we have been given. Let us rejoice in it and be glad. Go in peace, practice love. Amen.
Please join us in our closing hymn, As You Go. We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life, we hold you in our love as you go. We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark